I'm a nerd at heart. I cut my journalism teeth in consumer electronics and video games in my late teens and early 20s. So when a car like this comes along, the Deepal S07, I get a little bit excited because it's basically a quantum computer on wheels. But is there such a thing as too much car tech? This vehicle has a lot of compute and a lot of cool features, but also some kind of weird and annoying ones too. The beeps, the bleeps, the beeping, the bleeping.
Blinking and beeping and flashing, they're flashing.
Anyway, I'm going to test everything about this car. I'm going to deep dive into the tech. I'm going to analyse its user friendliness. I'm going to see how that tech works when you're driving and whether it's just a bit gimmicky. Let's get into it. Before we dive into the minutiae, let's answer the question, who is Deepal? Well, it sounds like an Indian brand, but it's actually part of Chinese auto giant Changan's car empire. This is a company that's nipping at the heels of China's big three, BYD, Geely and GWM in terms of size and sales. It is Deepal's first foray into the Aussie car market, and we're hoping the brand brings its rugged G318 plug-in hybrid four-wheel drive here, which would give the Ford Everest something to think about. But the Deepal S07 we have here today is a 5-door, 5-seat medium SUV, roughly the same size as a Toyota RAV4. And it's looking to steal sales away from EVs like the Xpeng G6, Kia EV5, and of course Tesla Model Y. There's only one model grade available at the moment and priced at just under $54,000. It's pretty sharp, especially when you consider what you get in this package. According to Deepal, that price rises to $58,500 once you add dealer delivery and on-road costs. But you do get 19-inch alloy wheels with aero covers, and the design was penned by Italians. No wonder I'm getting Lamborghini Urus vibes. And you know what? I don't mind it. This sunset orange colour is full on and turns heads like a kangaroo in a KFC fast food restaurant. I like the front end design. It's angular and pointy, and the daytime running lights that double as indicators are neat. Likewise, the flower petal LEDs, which are mirrored in the taillight design. It's got pop-out door handles, tinted rear windows, and the back end design is pretty full on. Check out the rear spoiler, it's super sporty, and I love the fact you've got this big LED stop lamp bisecting it. Bit of orange colour there, nice. Plus, the brake lights, the tail lights, it illuminates from end to end, and even the Deepal badge lights up. A 7-year warranty is above average. 160,000 kilometres is not. And if you use it for commercial purposes, such as a rideshare car with Uber or Didi, that warranty drops to 1 year and 120,000 kilometres, which smells a little bit fishy. Service costs are okay, service intervals are not. Some EVs have 2-year, 20,000 kilometre intermissions, but at least the battery warranty is a bit better. Speaking of batteries, the 80 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion NCM battery pack will deliver more range than an LFP unit, and an almost 500 kilometre range here is achievable in the real world. But these NCM batteries are generally more expensive, and there are also ethical issues around some cobalt mines. A single e-motor draws energy from the CATL supplied battery and drives the rear wheels. And let me be clear, this is no tyre shredding rocket ship. It moves swiftly enough and certainly matches, if not exceeds, its claimed 0 to 100 km/h sprint. But it's not going to push you into your seat with extreme prejudice. AC charging rates max out at 11 kilowatts, so wall box charging will take around 8 hours with that bandwidth and around 11 hours on a 7 kilowatt charger. But DC charging rates are below par at 92 kilowatts for this vehicle. However, considering most fast chargers in Australia are between 50 and 75 kilowatts, it's not a huge issue at this stage. Maxing out at 92 kilowatts, it will take around 35 minutes to charge the battery from 30 to 80%. Some rivals can do it in half that time and are capable of charging at 150, 250 and even 350 kilowatts. So it's not really future-proofed, which is a bit of a shame. The first time I stepped into this cabin, I was a little bit creeped out.
Hi, my name is Deepal. Let's explore the world together.
but then suitably impressed, and I still am. This is on par with high-end Chinese metal from the likes of BYD and Xpeng. Material quality is really good. It's got a suitably high-tech look to it, and you can also get this whole shebang, the seats, the dash, in orange. I would totally rock that. Look a little closer and there's pretty much soft touch materials everywhere. Most cars have cheap, brittle, harsh plastics here and there, but not this car. The doors, the dash, even the phone cradle is soft. It's all very lush. How these materials will fare under the hot Aussie sun is another question altogether, but so far, so good. The seats are excellent. I really like them. They're form-fitting, they're nicely contoured. The synthetic leather quality is really good. They're really nice and supple, plus they're heated and cooled. You've got 6-way power adjust, which is probably would have preferred 8-way, but it's not bad. And you've got 4-way power adjust for the lumbar on the driver, not for the front passenger. And there's also quite a lot of visual intrigue going on with these as well. You've got orange stitching, orange piping, and this weird little S07 logo for a bit of customizability. The headrests are not adjustable, which might be a bit annoying. For me, they're in a good position, but for some drivers might be a problem. However, the headrests do have 2 speakers in each of them in the front, which is pretty cool. And it's part of a 14-speaker Sony sound system that absolutely slaps. And there's even a subwoofer in the boot that is tremendous. The flat-bottom steering wheel also has lovely tactility, although the buttons are a bit cryptic at first glance, and only a few of the functions are obvious. Check the gear lever too. Mercedes-Benz called and wants its 2017 column shifter back. If you think that's peculiar, check out the window controls. They feel lovely, but forward goes down and back goes up. To me, that just feels wrong.
But is it though?
It is, Andy. My kids were like, they hopped in the car and they said, why don't the windows work? And I did the same thing, but I guess we can agree to disagree on this one. Storage solutions, however, are pretty good. You've got this big area under here. You can put stuff under there. There's 2 small spring-loaded cup holders that don't fit my 750ml bottle. But these butterfly opening doors here are gorgeous. They're softly damped, and you've got a massive central bin in here with an air conditioning vent, so you can put food or drink in there, keep it nice and chilled. And I really like that the sides have a soft, fuzzy finish, so that if you do have bottles in there, they're not going to make a loud noise when they clank around and move. The sound's going to be damped. I like that attention to detail. You get a medium-sized glove box, but there's no sunglasses holder and no extra shelving or storage around here. The wireless phone charger is very good, however. I like that it's got the soft, fuzzy covering again, plus there's even a vent to keep it cool, which is good if you're using wireless CarPlay and charging. Phones get hot, very useful. The USB ports are down here. You've got USB A and C and a 12-volt socket. That's good. Plus you've got door pockets, but they don't fit the 1-litre water bottle. They won't fit the Mega Gulp. They will fit the 750ml bottle. So, okay, this 15.6-inch central touchscreen, it's like a blockbuster movie. Action-packed and impossible to ignore. To start with, the screen itself can swivel, which I love, making it easier for the driver or the passenger to see. According to the Deepal nomenclature, it's called sunflower tilt. I reckon heliotropic tilt would have sounded cooler. Jokes aside, the resolution on this screen is off the scale. High def, and then some. It's got a high-end Qualcomm CPU and so much depth to it. But that's a blessing and a curse. I'm a nerd at heart. I used to build computers in my teens. Anyone remember the AMD 486 DX4100? Man, that was sweet. I even had a Forte VFX1 VR headset. They were heady days. Yeah. But even with my nerd brain whizzing away, this setup is kind of preposterous. It's about as counterintuitive as eating soup with a fork. If this becomes the first car you've ever driven or had an intimate experience with, then sure, no drama, Dalai Lama. But most other mainstream cars have proven there's a better way to do it. It kind of feels like Deepal's UI team has copied Tesla, but just made it a little bit more vexing to use. My suggestion to Deepal would be to do a bit more testing in mature Western markets where the average age of a new car buyer is a bit higher and perhaps not as tech savvy as those in China. It's super powerful and there's incredible depth here with all the usual stuff like Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, wired or wireless, plus energy flow readouts. There's even a smoking mode that detects when you're having a ciggy because, well, China, and it dips the windows. Not sure if it works with vapes. But simple things like adjusting the side mirrors, you've got to bring out this side menu, click on the mirrors, and then use this section here. That takes a little bit of time. If you want to adjust the air vents, there's no physical control, so you've got to actually drag and drop on the screen. That also takes a little bit of time. And every time you get in the car, you probably want to turn off the beeping and bleeping elements, but I have found a workaround. Tape. Not a little bit here. Ring-a-ding-ding. There's every chance these irksome elements will be fixed via over-the-air updates in the future, but as it stands, they are infuriating. It's got pretty cool gesture recognition, and then there's the selfie mode. Do the peace sign, take the photo, 3, 2, 1. Oh, hey, Andy. How awesome is that? Well, actually, it's not awesome at all. The whole setup is about as inconsistent as airport Wi-Fi in that it lets you take selfies while driving, yet constantly admonishes you for looking away from the road directly ahead. And then you get the
Blinking, beeping, and flashing lights.
It does have a useful dash cam mode, and there's countless other features, including a nap mode and even a light show. And there's also detailed graphic equalization for the Sony sound system. But there's a level of complexity here that makes it a bit dispiriting to use. There are so many menus and so many sub-menus that I think it's going to be really quite challenging for a lot of people. I mean, tech heads will love it, and I actually don't mind it, and you do get used to it over time. But I think if you're going to buy one of these, when you're at the dealership, make sure the salesperson goes through every single feature in this car with you. It's going to make your life a lot easier. This vehicle has pretty much everything you could want in terms of infotainment features, and many of them can be customized too. Like the Tesla Model Y, there's no digital display here, but there is a very good head-up display, and it's very welcome because every time you stare at the speedo over here, well,
They're flashing and they're beeping. I can't stand it anymore.
as with most new Chinese cars, the reversing and parking camera systems are excellent, with a high-res video feed featuring countless angles, views, and spinny bits. So you'll be able to check out your car from every which way. Safety tech is par for the course, and it comes with 7 airbags. But again, the level of intrusion from some of the systems and their aggressive instigation can be quite alarming. They need to be recalibrated. Simple as that. Before I get into seat comfort and amenity and all that sort of stuff, I want to point out this huge panoramic glass roof. It's awesome. It's really big. It stretches all the way back here. You've got a really nice view of your surroundings when you're sitting in the back seat. It makes it feel less claustrophobic, which it is a little bit in here, especially with these large seats. But what's awesomer is the fact it's got a physical sunshade, and this is a must on cars offered in Australia where UV levels are huge. It's super, super hot, even on mild days. It's 21 degrees out here, but what's it like in the sun, Andy?
Terrible.
Yeah, see? So, the thing is, not all EVs come with a physical sunshade. Elon Musk, I'm looking at you, bro. And this is really impressive that this one has it. And I think they all should have it, to be honest. In terms of comfort and space, very, very good in the back of the Deepal. We've got really nice cushioning here, not too soft, not too firm. Again, same lovely synthetic leather as the front. And there's a little bit of contouring too, so you can sort of, you sort of sink back into the seat. It's quite nice. And room is really good. I've got loads of leg room. Pretty reasonable support under the thighs too. I can get my feet under the seat. Headroom is not so good for my 6-foot frame, 183 centimeters. It's getting pretty close to that roof section with the inbuilt sunblind, but still, it does feel roomy back here. And yeah, I'd be happy to spend plenty of time back here. So you've got pretty good amenity back here, LED light, that's nice. Seat back pockets, a little bit of storage. No storage under here, but you do have one USB-C port. I do like that you've got a third climate control zone back here, so you can set that up the way you want it. Plus you've got the digital controls for the sun blind, and you can even move the front seat. Chauffeured cars are real big in China, so this is a must for this sort of car. You've got a sort of fold-out armrest. It's kind of the whole middle section there, but it's pretty good and it's nice and it's large, and yeah, that's pretty cool. But there's only one air vent. It's large, it's wide, but I mean, who's going to get aircon on a hot day? I reckon it's going to be rock, scissors, paper, and that is one battle I do not want to be a part of. You've also got 2 ISOFIX and 3 top tether child seat anchorages, which will be good for family buyers. Pop the power operated tailgate and you've got a pretty big boot space back here. You'll be able to get a lot of stuff in here. I like the size of this. Amenity isn't too bad. You've got a lot of 2x2 going on here. You've got the 2 LED lights, you've got the 2 tie-down hooks, and you've got 2 bag hooks, but not a lot else. There's no spare tyre like a lot of EVs, just this puncture repair kit, which is not ideal in Aussie conditions, but it is what it is. There's not a lot of extra cubbies or little storage bits either, although you can fold the rear seats 60-40 to open up a bit more room. And there is also some more room in the frunk. So check out the frunk. This is awesome. This is really big, one of the biggest I've seen. At the moment you've got the charging cables in there, but if you've got extra groceries, or you could even put a carry-on bag if you're going to the airport in there. It's really good. It's very handy having that extra room. So this vehicle is certainly a tech head's dream, but is it a driver's dream? Let's boogie. First impressions, well, I'm not sure if you can hear that beeping, but there's a lot of beeping. It's, no, it's smooth, it's quiet, it's relatively devoid of much character, but it's very pleasant to drive. It goes about its business fairly innocuously. It does exactly what you expect of it. Can you hear that? That's just the beginning. It's a very striking little alarm.
Striker.
Very insistent. In terms of the powertrain, well, it's no firecracker, but it does get up and boogie a little bit. It's more than adequate for what most people will use this car for most of the time. That 0 to 50, 0 to 60 kilometer acceleration isn't too bad, and it's actually not terrible at freeway speeds either when you're overtaking. Deepal reckons 0 to 100 in a bit under 8 seconds, and I think it's a little bit quicker than that even, especially in sport mode. But yeah, overall, it's pretty good. And pedal modulation, I like that too. It's quite responsive, and it's got nice recuperative braking. It's not quite one pedal driving, but when you do come off the throttle, it does decelerate quite nicely. It's a good thing to drive. A little bit hot. Let's change the air conditioning. One click for that, and wow. Okay. Yeah. In terms of handling dynamics, this car is actually not too shabby. When I picked it up from the office, I thought, oh, here we go again. Another Chinese claptrap. A lot of the Chinese sourced vehicles I've tested in the last 2 years feel underbaked in the chassis department. The suspension is just a bit soft and squidgy, and this one still has a certain compliance to it. It's actually pretty good over bumps, but it also has really good body control too. So I'm impressed with what they've done here. This is definitely a more capable feeling SUV than I've tested in recent times, for sure. I like it. Now let's just check on, oh my God. It can be a lot of fun when you're sitting stationary in the car and playing with all the cool features, but when you're driving along, a lot of them feel unnecessary, and then when it starts beeping and bleeping at you for sometimes reasons unknown, you just kind of think, well, what's the point of it all if I'm going to turn it all off anyway, or put tape over the sensors to stop the incessant nagging. It's crazy, and I think they need to recalibrate a lot of these systems and sensors for markets like Australia. I'm sure that in China, where the driving culture is very different, it's probably really effective and useful. But here, it doesn't work. What now? What now? I'm looking at the road. Refinement levels are understandably very good. This is an electric car, it's got a very quiet powertrain, but the cabin itself is really well insulated from outside noises too. It's got ding dong, yes, I know. It's got really nicely insulated glass. There's lots of sound damping materials in the body, and this lends the car a luxury feel while you're driving. It's not just all the materials that feel nice, it's actually the way the car comports itself. Energy efficiency is very good. I've been seeing around 15 kilowatt hours in the burbs, rising to 17 or 18 kilowatt hours on the freeway, both of which are rather impressive. All up, that should result in me being able to get close to the 475 kilometre range on this test. Visibility is pretty good for the most part. Really clear view out the front, out the sides. There are pretty big C-pillars there, like most of these fancy, swoopy, coupey sort of SUVs. So that does create a big blind spot, but all the camera systems available and all the sensors on the car work pretty well. The advanced driving assistance systems, the ADAS stuff, the automatic steering, lane keep assist, and cruise control are not bad. They're certainly not the best we've used, but they get the job done, and it does make freeway driving a little more relaxed for sure. This is an impressive vehicle in a lot of ways, and it's a car that owners are really going to be proud of, especially for that price. And it's got a great warranty. But I gotta wonder, what good is that warranty if the brand isn't here in 7 years? This is a lovely car to drive. It's elegantly finished. It has a sophisticated feel to the way it drives, and it's pretty practical as well. But some of the tech, and especially the safety systems, they can be really draining. They can be exasperating. Please concentrate. Yeah. All right. The beeping, the bleeping.
I can't stand it anymore. The blinking and beeping is flashing. Why doesn't somebody move?
Whether you fall in love with this car will probably come down to one thing, whether you're a tech head or not. Ultimately, the concept is really cool. It's really luxurious, it's generously equipped, and it's sharply priced. It's just the execution really lets it down.
We've all got our switches, lights, and knobs to deal with.
Thanks for watching. Hope you liked the video. And what do you reckon of the Deepal? I reckon with a few tweaks, it could be really, really good. Anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below, and see you next time.